Hey guys, me again. I'm just back again doing another tag. Sorry if it's like pissing you off, but what I thought was a really good idea with these tags is it helps you to get to know the people's channels you're watching. I love watching the tags on other people's channels, seeing sort of what they're into, what their thoughts are on certain things, what their practices are. So I thought I would do this next tag, which is the 7 witchy questions tag. So again, apologies if I keep looking down. I have made some notes of the questions and some potential answers as I've been thinking about it. So biggest disaster spell wise. Okay, I don't really think that I have had a massive disaster spell wise because I'm usually very careful with what I'm asking for. There have maybe been spells in the past that haven't worked, but I know why that is. It's mainly because my intentions or my thoughts were maybe not quite right at the time, or it was more of a reaching out rather than a actually realistically, you know, sitting down and putting something together properly. I think it was maybe in time of desperation or something like that. But generally I would say I've had it quite easy with disasters, just because I'm not someone who does a spell every single day. I'm not someone who just does them at the drop of a hat, you know, over anything. I feel like it's such a sacred practice. Yes, I feel that it is there, and if you guys do spells every day, that's nothing against you, and that's great because that's your choice and that's your path. But I personally feel, for me, I like to save, if you like, conserve the energy of these spells for times when I will really need it, or if there's something that I particularly want. And a lot of the time I feel very lucky with the life that I've been given compared to how other people are, and how the things that some other people have. So generally I don't do spells on a regular basis, but I mean, I've also been in circle and knocked things over, and it's like, oh my god, you know, mid-flow of your circle you're having to go out. Or I think me and my friend one time did set a circle in my garden, and it was like, realised halfway through that we had left half the stuff inside. So it's like, brilliant. We've completely destroyed our ritual now because we're going to have to go indoors and ferry everything out that we needed. It's just poor management of what we were doing, really. Okay, so second question is, what do you wish you were told at the start or at the beginning of becoming a witch? I think, knowing me, I mean, I like to discover things on my own. I love listening to other people's stories, but generally I like to discover things on my own. But I do wish there had maybe been more information available, more people available to talk to. When I first started practicing witchcraft, I was probably only about 15, and I didn't really at that point feel that there was many people to talk to about it. I mean, we're very lucky now. I mean, Facebook and things like that weren't around then. Facebook, YouTube, I don't think was maybe as popular back then, and I certainly wasn't aware of it at that point. And I didn't have people to talk to. I didn't have anyone to ask about it. I just knew how I felt inside, and what my truths were, what felt right to me. But I also wish that in having those people around, that would have been able to tell me sort of where to start. I think when you first become, like now it's a lot easier, but when I first started, it was almost like you don't know where to start because you feel like you need to know so much, but don't know where's the best place to start. And that can still come across even now, I'm sure, to new pagans and Wiccans and eclectic witches. But yeah, I think it would have been nice to have had people to talk to about it, and also more information about where to start. And also maybe the fact that go with the flow, do what feels right to you, and not feel that you have to have a set structure, unless of course you work in a structured environment. Number 3 was what's your biggest pet peeve? My biggest pet peeve is kind of in linking with that second one, is the amount of pagan and spiritual people who feel the need to degrade others and tell them that their practice is wrong. That really pisses me off. I've seen a lot of that recently on other people's channels and on Facebook, and I'm sure it's probably just the world that we live in now, but there are so many people out there who are claiming to live this spiritual, pagan, very peaceful lifestyle, but actually are talking absolute crap because all they do is go around bashing other people and their practices, and that's not cool, you know. It really pisses me off. That's probably my biggest pet peeve. You know, you shouldn't have to feel like you're being judged constantly. You shouldn't have to feel like people have always got something to say about you and your practice. You know, if I want to dress up in a fucking tutu and run around here with fairy dust and think that that's my magic, then that's how I'll do it. And no one should tell you that you're any less pagan for doing that. If if you want to dance out naked under the moon, then that's your truth. That's what's right for you. Everyone has a different practice, and I think that we should all be allowed to do it in our own way, and that's why it really irritates me, and that's probably why it's my biggest pet peeve in the pagan community. Number 4, when did you know you was gifted? I can't think of a specific turning point where I went, oh, you know, actually I feel like this, like I'm gifted, or like this is a path for me. I remember when I was about 14 or 15, probably 14, one of my friends from school, her mum was a clairvoyant medium, and she had a book on witchcraft and Wicca. And that's kind of how it started, if you like. But even before then, I remember thinking, oh, I believe in spirits, I believe in nature, I could feel the wind, you know, I loved being outside. I mean, I'm sure there was a bit in the middle there when I was being an awkward teenager where I was like, I don't want to be outside. But I think everyone goes through that. But yeah, generally I think it was because I had these love for things that I didn't really understand, and then upon reading about them that I actually then discovered that the things that I believed and the path that I was unknowingly following was actually a pagan one. But yes, that's kind of how it started. So number 5, favourite witchy book. I have lots of favourite books. I probably should have brought this one over really, but you guys will be able to see it in my one of my previous videos. It's the book by Stephanie Woodfield, and it's about the Morrigan, the Celtic lore and spellcraft of the Dark Morrigan, of the Dark Goddess invoking the Morrigan, I believe is the full title. But yeah, that's one of my favourite books. That I think I love it because it's informative. It's got path working in there, it's got spell work, it's got incense ingredients. It tells you all about, well, not all about, but it tells you a good amount of information about the Celtic lore that goes alongside her. And I think generally it's a really good book for reference. Like, I use it quite a lot referring back, and if I want to check correspondences or colours or anything that I want to do in my spell work, I will refer back to that book. And I have used and modified some of the little rituals in there as well. Another good book which I would recommend for first time witches, which I don't have because I've actually lent it to a friend who has recently become interested, is the Real Witch's Hand Guide, handbook by Kate West. I think some people don't like Kate West, and I don't know why, but that's, you know, your personal choice. But Kate West is a brilliant author. She writes things in a really easy to follow manner. She's I'm not saying that this particular book would be like the only book you would need to buy. I don't think any book can do that. But this particular book is a really good guide to get you started. It gives you all the basics. It lays down that foundation of what you need to learn about and what the basis of witchcraft, Wicca is. So that's a book I would recommend if you're just starting out and want something to have a look at and an easy read. The next one is, what is your favourite witchy movie or TV show? Okay, so my friends will know that my favourite witchy film is The Craft. And the reason they know this is because usually I try and make them watch it when they come over. I can pretty much recite the whole film. It's just a brilliant film. It's obviously out there based on the fact of it. But one thing I do like is the fact that the main actress who plays Nancy in there, she actually is a witch in real life, and she is a practicing witch. So she actually had a big say on a lot of the things that were happening in the film, which kind of makes it, before it gets to the crazy point of going mental and killing people and stuff, before that point, it's quite informative, and there are things in there that you could, you know, that sort of spark the imagination, if you like. And my favourite TV show is Charmed, witchy TV show anyways, Charmed. Again, it's one of them programs which is far-fetched to some extent, but actually it's got good morals. You know, it teaches people in general, you know, what you put out comes back, to make the right decisions, and also that good prevails over evil, and it's easy watching. It's a TV show. You know, if I wanted to watch something that was informative, no, I wouldn't watch it. But as it goes, and the fact that it is entertaining, I do love Charmed as my favourite witchy TV show. And question 7 is, have you ever doubted yourself or your craft? Yes, I think everybody has. I don't think... I thought my doubt would mainly come from myself, the doubts I have about myself, my gifts, how I practice, or it would mainly be on the validity, if you like, of what the things that I'm getting. For example, a few years ago I used to go to a psychic development group with a couple of my friends. We started going mainly because we wanted to be able to set aside time to dedicate to just developing our psychic ability, and also to be able to connect with other people of the same sort of belief system. That became apparent that that's going to be very difficult, because a lot of the people who were going to these psychic development groups were very much into, they were more, I would say, more spiritual than pagan. When I say spiritual, I believe that people who are spiritualists are still following a Christian or Catholic typed path, in the fact that they believe in the Christian God, but don't follow the Bible as such. So for example, going to a psychic development group wouldn't be something that would be allowed if you were following the Christian or the Catholic faith. But they were still sort of following that ideal and that Christian God, so we were really struggling there. But that kind of, at that point, sort of highlighted the doubts that I had in myself when I was getting information through for people. When it started to become more real, started to happen, things started to happen more. I think at that point I was starting to doubt whether the things that I was having happen or having felt were me making it up in my mind, or whether they were genuine. And it's a case of working past that. I think everybody goes through that phase, especially when you first start out, because you have to learn to identify whether what you're getting is your mind putting it in there, or it is your subconscious, or potentially something else, be it a spirit guide, divine guidance, anything you like. But yeah, that's probably the main sort of things that I would doubt of myself, is whether the things that I'm getting are valid or not. But yeah, so that's the 7 questions. If you've got any other questions for me, then please let me know. I hope that this has sort of helped you guys to get to know me a little bit better. Like I say, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm on Instagram as Luna Quartz. I'm also on Facebook as Luna Quartz. So yeah, you know, communicate with me, and if there's anything you want to know, then just let me know. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Blessed be.